like I said, the last 2 years, being able to grow into that. Of course, hard work and dedication, but really having the heart for it, I don't think I can lose because my heart is really for the service. I've never seen somebody go broke or be poor from giving. That makes sense. Like somebody
Of
who is a
course.
giver, I've never seen them be without.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Modern Day Unicorns. Now, I've had this trend to where I've been able to reach back into my past and catch up with people that I went to school with. And today is no different. Today I have Megan. Megan and I went to high school together, and she's been doing a number of amazing things that I've been able to witness online. And so I had to hit her up to see what she's been doing, how I can support, and also to give you all this encouragement. So Megan, welcome.
Thank you, Abby. It's so great to see you and talk to you.
Yes. So, like I said, I've been able to see you online. We've been Facebook friends for an eternity now. And I see that you've made some strides. You've had some beautiful children. Both of your children are beautiful.
Thank
That little boy
you.
in them eyes. Oh my goodness.
Thank you.
But I wanted to see, first of all, I want you to introduce yourself to our listeners and also give them a little bit of insight on, who you are, where you're from, and what you do.
Okay. Well, I'm Megan. I'm affectionately known as Artsy Blue. So I'm from originally Ohio, Cincinnati, Ohio, but that is by way of Marietta. So I moved into Marietta, Georgia as a child. I was 11. So I grew up here. I have a lot of Georgia in me. Ohio is still home, so I cling to it and I'll explain it because it's just the home team. But what I'm doing now, I mean, I've done so many things from a child. I've always been in the arts though, and so in the past couple of years, I've been able to take my real desires and my true, when you're a child and it's something that you really love to do, and it's like that's you. I've been able to take that over the last couple of years and really develop it into a business. So I run a business called Artsy Blue, and I empower children and I give them a creative outlet to overcome a lot of challenges that they may have in life. Trauma, self-esteem issues, social anxieties, and things like that. We use art to tap into their higher self and give them kind of like a sense of individuality, a sense of hope, a sense of well-being, and have fun.
Now that's amazing right there, and I can definitely resonate with that. I am a physical education teacher, so even though I'm not teaching in a school at the moment, being able to explore emotions and being able to express yourself through physical movement and have that outlet as well is something that is super needed. And I know growing up for me, I really enjoyed art. I took every art class that I could growing up. So for you building a platform for young students and children to be able to have that, but also educating people on the fact that it is a resource. It is a way for children to be able to express themselves or get out some type of energy is great because it's not really recognized. Over the years, you've been seeing the programs being, taken out of schools or after school programs. So that's great. So so you mentioned a little bit earlier that you've always been into the arts, and you now as an adult have been able to tap back in to your childhood and make it a business. Can I ask maybe what were you doing before you said, okay, this is what I'm going to do now?
Well, growing as a young child in Ohio, I attended the School of Creative and Performing Arts. So I was always the one getting up in front of my parents, wanting to sing, look at me do this dance, look at what I painted, look what I colored. So that they saw that then, and they kind of helped me to explore that. When I came to Georgia, I was just into the arts. So I did modeling, I did child acting. I continued to do things like make designer, like chip belts and clothing and, things to put on my wall in my room. And as a young adult at the age of 21, after my late sister passed away, she passed away when I was 21 years old. And a friend, me and my best friend at the time, we wanted to get through. She was in a difficult space in her life. I was in a difficult space in my life, but I was only 21 years old. She's 10 years my senior. So we decided to start a business. She just said, I want to work with the kids. And this is in 2010. And I said, well, I want to help. I'm not doing anything. at that time, I really didn't have any real like hope. I had lost it. I forgot what art can really do. But I'm gonna get to that in a second. So we started a business called YBC, YBC Kids, and we started off just doing birthday parties and events like Taste in the Park and things like that. And we landed a contract with Fulton County to do an after school program. And that carried me from the age of 22 to the age of 32, which is 2020 when COVID hit and the schools closed down. So we were able to grow that business. I have all this experience in childcare from those 10 years. And in the after school program, that is the element that I brought to the business. I was doing curriculum planning. I was planning, what are we going to do activity wise this week? How can we engage the kids to have fun and multi-sensory projects? That was really my expertise, aside from like doing billing and all the business stuff. So I was able to continue to explore that. And also during those 10 years, I feel as though I started to develop my real love for children. So I started teaching Sunday school at my church. I started being a nanny to different kids and different families. And I realized that I really enjoyed this. A part of what I wanted to bring to that business was my sister Lauren. Her spirit was very childlike. And a lot of people remember that from her having a great smile, but she loved crafting with me. That's one way that we connected as sisters. We would craft, we would color, we would do, just creative things all the time. So I wanted to keep her spirit alive in that business. So boom, fast forward to 2020 and it's COVID. YBC had to be dissolved. The schools were closed for too long for us to sustain the business, and we decided not to go virtual. And really, I'm one of the people where COVID gave me some freedom. It took away my regular earned income, but it gave me some inspiration. We were in the house, just like everybody else, and I started to tap into different creative things within myself. I started to paint more and color more of my children. I started to garden and redecorate my house. And I said, I want to keep this going. So Artsy Blue started with me going into children's hospitals, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, actually, Scottish Rite. I was going there monthly and doing patient parties with the kids. So I would go in and whoever could come out of their room, we would do an activity. We would paint boxes. We would do string art. We would do, different activities. Now that was me volunteering. And so that was in 2018. So then when COVID hit, I said, I want to keep doing this, but they wouldn't let me come back in the hospital. Now, where the hospital idea came from is I was a sibling of a child. My sister had cancer all growing up, and she was my older sister. So I had to be in the hospital a lot, just with her and my family. And there were people who came in and they would play dressed up with us. They would let us paint our nails. We would do mini plays, and they had clowns, and they would, paint pictures with us. And it was very, very helpful for me. So I feel like that is what I bring to my business is I'm a product of how art can be therapeutic. So it really helped me with coping skills and just being able to, as my key word is creative outlet. That is the key basics of my business, is having a creative outlet, because it doesn't have to be coloring or drawing. If you're a singer, if you play piano, if you are interior designer, all of those things are creative outlets. So my job now as YBC is I want to help kids tap into what their creative outlet is, find something that they love, and be able to talk about it. So as a certified art therapist, there are different things that you ask people during a session, like, why did you use this color? Why is your mom over here and you painted your dad over here? And it gets them to talking and exploring like what that really means. So I think I'm getting off topic. I'm gonna wait for the next question because I can keep going. So go ahead.
No, I love it. I love where you're going, and I love the element of service that you're bringing out in this conversation. So
Yeah.
I'm connecting so much with it, and being able to kind of go back to your past and figure out those key things that have helped you become the person that you are today.
Yeah.
So of course, certain unfortunate situations and or events that took place, but you're able to tap back into what helped you through and offer that same service to other people. Not one time have I heard you in your journey at this time mention anything about money. Everything is coming from your heart and how you were able to process certain things and how you want to give that same to other children. Now, I'm not saying that you're not making money, but I love the fact that this is something that you're doing from your heart, and as a result, you're able to maintain your household and things of that nature. So even, same thing in the same realm of I love to know more about the art therapy and stuff like that. I'm familiar with a little bit more like play therapy, but even strategically being able to recognize and notice things and how your students, present their ideas and thoughts and feelings on paper or on canvas or whatever you do. I'd like to know a little bit more about how you maybe recognize something, right? How do you determine what the next activity is, or maybe even make suggestions for those students to continue to help their healing process if that's what they're in?
That's a good question. And I really want to attribute that to something that I'm learning now at my age is every single thing that we have done in our past has prepared us for where we are now. So I bring elements from, for example, from sales. When I was working in retail, it was all about asking them questions to get to the bottom of like, what are they really thinking or what do they really want? So it's kind of like probing. And a lot of times our kids nowadays, they don't have people really interested in what do you like? Who are you? How does this make you feel? What do you say when somebody does this? So it's very simple to get somebody to express their interest, especially a child, because they're so organic, right? They're going to tell you like how they feel if they really feel a genuine interest. So it's basically just asking them questions. Now, how I get to what I know can help them is just from my experience. I try different things, but you always want to make sure you take someone's interest, what they're interested in mind, and then give suggestions in a way that I feel like is helpful for a lot of kids. Is I present new information. So if they say, I usually like to color like this, and I love blue. And if you're enthusiastic and you're genuine and getting to know somebody, they're going to take your suggestions for mostly anything. It's going to make them say, oh, maybe I should try it like this. And that is what I bring. I bring a lot of energy. I bring big energy to my clients and to the children that I work with. And they just want to explore. They want to know, like, what is it that I'm doing that's making me so happy and bright and fluffy? And then I can give that to them and say, you try it. And if it doesn't work for them, at least it's a good experience. So I think that is big with just thinking about taking all of the elements from how I came up, all the different jobs I had, what I learned through like my grieving process, using all of that to really make a difference in somebody else's life. And it is all about service. I started off doing service, and service is a big part of my business. But it is a blessing. I'm just so blessed and grateful. I practice gratefulness and mindfulness because I am able to make a living, and it doesn't look like it. It looks like I'm just helping people. It feels like I'm just helping people, but God has made room for my gift to where I'm actually able to feed my family and live a free life. And that is all a transition from like I said, the last 2 years. Being able to grow into that. Of course, hard work and dedication, but really having the heart for it, I don't think I can lose because my heart is really for the service. So I'm going to eat. I've never seen somebody go broke or be poor from giving. That makes sense? Like somebody
Of
who is
course.
a giver, I've never seen them be without.
Can you tell us a little bit more about how you've been able to manage the art and the entrepreneurial side of it all? Because I find like sometimes if somebody's like super creative, like maybe they're not, super business minded, but how have you been able to kind of strike that balance, take care of your billing and everything like that, manage those contracts that you're getting, but then also have, the space and the freedom to say, all right, I want to do this today.
Yeah, it's been hard, Abby. I'm not gonna lie. I've had to try to find my way through that. I think having that experience with YBC for 10 years as a business partner helped me to understand and have patience in certain areas and learn how to figure stuff out, like do proper research, due diligence, execute on certain things. So that's the entrepreneurial mindset, is being able to take an idea and develop it into something tangible. But a lot of times, I mean, I just feel like I just want to color and play with the kids. I don't want to have to like do payroll. I don't have to come up with these proposals. But if you practice mindfulness, then you have to tap in and say, how dare I not do what I got to do to keep this going? God gave me the opportunity to make it happen. So you got to do what you got to do. It's just like maturity. But I reach out to people. Like, I have a mentor, and I have lots of entrepreneurs that I can ask questions to and kind of get advice if I need to. And I spend a lot of time alone. Like, I'm very introverted, so I got time to get it done. And then a lot of times what I'm trying to do now is continue to structure my business to where I'm not trading so much time for money. So the things and the workshops and the activities that I do, it might take an hour out of my day to execute that. So, if you think about it, you need to use some of those other hours to have your paperwork in order, have your marketing together, because it only took me an hour to do this activity with these kids. I made enough money for the whole week. If I don't want to work again, now you need to tap into the business side and see how you're going to keep it growing. So that's how I'm trying to keep structuring it so I can do like work smart, not hard.
I can completely understand. I just recently entered into my full-time entrepreneurial journey, and I hate administrative tasks.
Yes, it's
I don't
hard.
like them, but it is something. Yeah, you're absolutely right. If you kind of, set your certain amount of time to get those tasks done that you don't like, you spend more time doing what you do like. So I feel you. I feel you on that. I wanted to bring up once again what you said, when you're utilizing your past experiences to kind of fuel more things about your future. And I love that. I've had plenty of conversations where it's just like, honestly, the things that we've gone through are not necessarily for ourselves. They're for us to be able to help people and help them process the journey. So when you have these experiences, you can say, this is something I went through. This is something that I did. I remember my prayer partner forever, right? We had this one conversation. I'm in the middle of a class when I was teaching back in DC, and she calls me frustrated about a situation. And I'm like, hey, it'll be okay. You'll be fine. And she's like, no, I don't feel better yet. You can't get off the phone. It was like a marital issue, right? So one of the things that came to me while we were speaking was, she wanted to help people in their marriages, help them get through issues and problems. And I was like, well, why do you think that if you want to help other people with their marriages, that your marriage won't have issues that you can relate to? And she was like, well, that makes all the sense in the world. I feel better now. Like, honestly, it's in those tough times or interesting situations that we go through to where we can have the knowledge and the empathy and the experiences to be able to at least encourage people to say, don't quit. Or, once you get to that street, turn left, do not turn right, because I know what happens when you turn left. And so I feel like while it might be inconvenient and painful and hard at the time, we have to definitely take note of how we're getting through situations, what breakthroughs that we're doing, what practices we're doing to, kind of get ourselves through, so that we can, when we run into somebody that looks just like us, and that we can give them the tools and resources that they can, reach their success as well.
Yeah, I will say that just to taking that a step further, what I have noticed is definitely as I work with kids, I realize that they go through so much mentally and psychologically, especially the post-COVID children. So it's really about, even if you have been through something, it's about, if you're authentic in the fact that you have these experiences, that's what's really going to help you. Just all of us having some of the same experiences is not really helpful if we don't be authentic and try to actually connect with each other about it. Or like, there has to be leaders or people who are willing to be transparent and be authentic and say, this has been my journey, this has been my walk. And in today's society, where it's like we're taught not to do that. Like, They just want to see us doing well. They want to see us like on the social media era. They want to see nice pictures. They want to see a good reel. And you don't really get to see the person for like, wow, you went through this, or wow, you went through that. Now, I know there are a lot of people like, coaches and people who do help you through stuff, but I notice a lot of people who are doing very well for themselves now, you would never know like how they got there. Maybe if you're just not close to them, but it's important to me to share my experiences. Like one of the first things I try to do when I connect with a kid is try to find something similar, like that they like that I have liked or I remember doing as a kid, because it's a good way to just open up conversation and, like I said, connect and be authentic with somebody and build a real genuine like relationship.
And that is definitely key. I find a lot of times online you just see people's representative, and not their true self. And that's one of the reasons I don't trust dating apps, because I'm like, you sending who you want somebody to catch. Like, I've never even signed up for one, because I'm just like, I already know that this is a representation of who you think that you are, and you might be somebody totally different. But honestly, yeah, sharing your journey so people can relate to it more definitely is the building block for our future. And I know COVID has separated us so much. Like, so I've even realized that my love language has changed through this. Pre-COVID, I was definitely quality time and physical touch. Captain Hugger over here, right? Now, like, it was probably even like low-key trauma too, to where, even friends were apprehensive about giving you a high five or shaking your hand, and that hurt my feeling. Not, no offense to them, but it would hurt my feelings. To now, it's just like I am giving second thoughts to hugs, or I've had to just be like, okay, well, I guess I'll just have to deal with, quality time at a distance, or words of affirmation to kind of get to the point where I feel like you're telling the truth about me and things of things
Wow,
of that
that's
nature. But
interesting.
it is very hard, and it's still rough for me, because I love a lot of people, especially when I was working. I think the biggest part, I got a lot of my hugs from school, from my kids, and to the point where it was just like we were scared to touch each other or even be in each other's presence was heartbreaking, especially when you're working with elementary students, right? I had kids that would run up to me every morning, give me the biggest hug, to the point where I'm just like, you cannot touch me. Not even just for me, but it's for them, like, And so I'm
Yeah,
like
that was
emotional right
hard.
now, because it was
Yeah,
very, very difficult.
yeah, that was difficult. And it was difficult for me. I spent 10 years working with kids in the after school. I had like limited contact with adults. Like I didn't have adult coworkers. It was just me and Jasmine. We had like staff, but they weren't like coworkers. We didn't have a break room. They came at 2 and they left at 6. But I spent most of my day with these kids, and I missed my kids so much that year. Like I cried, and I was just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, I don't even talk to adults as well as I talk to kids, because I don't know, I had just gotten really comfortable with that. So, um, COVID, it changed a lot of things, for me. I feel like it opened up a lot. It shut down a lot of things and changed relationships, but it opened up just like how people talk about their chakras. It opened up like my mindfulness in a way to where I was looking at the world differently, and I'm grateful that I was able to take a positive route for it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people, wonder like, how do you remain positive? And I don't know. I don't know. It's very hard, but I think that art helps me, because I do things that make me happy. Like I might draw a picture, like I said, I might create a vision that I love, and that makes me happy, and it kind of like activates endorphins in my mind that make me happy. And I feel like
You know
everybody
what?
should have that. Even engineers,
I was gonna
corporate
say,
people, y'all should have a creative outlet. Everybody should have a creative outlet. It is a thing, and it is therapeutic, and it's a whole industry. So I need people to understand that this was important.
and it's very true. A lot of people don't have a creative outlet. They either try to release their frustrations or anxieties through exercise, and I love it, but it's either they try to exert physical energy. They turn to poor choices with substance, alcohol, whatever drugs and stuff like that. Um, or some people turn to utilizing their body to experience those type of outlets. And so when it comes to having a creative outlet, being if you're drawing or if you're dancing, and for me it's me being able to edit and manipulate things in a way to where I can perceive the outcome, or even just playing around with different concepts. It's just like, okay, this was what I was focused on, and I was able to do it. Like, those things are so important, even if it's just being silly, or if it's something that nobody's ever going to see. I feel like a lot of things that we do are for other people to see and validate, but nothing is really just like for us. Like, I just did this for me, like, and I felt good.
Yeah. And everybody should have something that they could do like that.
I'd like to know more about the things that you're doing present day, and maybe some things that you're looking to get into in the future.
Yes, I work with children because I want to catch them young so they can be like a creative outlet as a tool. I want them to be able to use it as a tool to get through certain stuff. You had a bad day at school, go write in your journal. You're fighting and arguing with your mom, make a vision board about it or a scrapbook. You know what I'm saying? Friends are bullying you, make a little doll of them. Okay, I'm just kidding. But you see what I'm saying? Like they tools to use in life. I mean, coping skills, your self-esteem, just having mindfulness, and mindfulness going into art and creative therapy is what I just said. It's a cognitive function. You have to sit there and like think and like open up your mind and like think about what you're about to create. So it's a real skill and it's a real thing. Once I found out that there was a whole industry for it and there was a lane for me, I'm like, well, that is what I want to do, because I know I want to work with kids. I know I'm an artist. I'm an actress, and I'm a drama teacher. Also, I teach elementary school drama club. It's an after school program. But I like doing all this stuff. I want to paint. I want to help the kids. I'm all about service. What can I do? Like, it took me a long time to figure out like a lane for myself. I have a degree in fashion merchandising, so I did know that I was into the arts. I got an art degree, but what can I do? So when I found out that this was a thing, an art therapist, I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And that's how that came about. And I'm just choosing to do it on a freelance, or independent entrepreneurial lane. So I'm doing it on that lane because that's where my spirit is and what I haven't really worked for anybody in a very long time. So I'm like, I've got to make this work. It's either got to work or it's got to work. I'm just going to have to make it work. And it's a very creative life. Like, I live a very creative life. Some of my family members, they still don't really know what I do. But I don't ask nobody for rent money. I'm set. And so it's just it's fun just being able to create my own like life. That is a creative process in itself. Like, okay, how we going to get this? I piece stuff together. I figure this stuff out. I make connections here, try to network and plug it all in together. And that's what makes me happy.
And I think that is how, certain people's lives should be. I really enjoy the fact that you've made your life creative and you're able to navigate through certain situations so that you can have fulfillment and sustenance and whatever it is that you need. And sometimes traditional means are for people. They can go into a 9 to 5 and receive a paycheck and do what they have to do. And even some people like the construct, like they can be in like an art teacher at a school and do that. And, I had to reach the parallel to it. Was just like, I wasn't being able to express myself enough creatively within a school. It took too much of my time, and all of the back-to-back classes and things of that nature, I had a little bit of flexibility, but I didn't have enough time to explore things deeply. Or maybe I wanted to stay with a certain class more, or maybe I wanted to create a resource for them, but I couldn't because I went home and I was dog tired. But now it's just like I'm utilizing my time a little bit differently, being able to create different resources for people and give back the way I want to give back instead of the way that I'm told. And so being able to kind of manage that and, still feed myself here and there, but gas in my car. But you realize that money's not everything. But the money that you use, how are you utilizing? How are you managing it so that you can continue to do what your heart is asking you to do?
Yeah. I mean, and there comes sacrifice. That's with anything. So there are sacrifices and there are differences in a traditional corporate life. There's definitely differences. It is more when you are creative, it could all go rogue. Just like when you like are painting something, it could go really well and you can stay between the lines and it could be just perfect, or you can accidentally like wiggle out. You can run out of paint. You know what I'm saying? So with this creative life, I've had to just embrace that there are some sacrifices that I have to make. However, it comes with so many rewards. Like I make my own time. I work on my own time. I do projects that I want to do, and I'm not constricted by things. And I realized that that's the kind of spirit I had as a young girl, and being flowy and free spirited and fighting. And I realized that that is the life that I wanted to live. Yes, I want security, as far as financially, but I also realized as I'm getting older that I can create financial security doing what I want to do. I'm just going to have to work a little different and kind of get creative with it. Get creative. That is my whole purpose in life, is to tell
Mm.
people that's possible.
And with that being said, I'd love for us to pivot a little bit and for you to tell us more about, what you're doing nowadays and also kind of like where you see the future going. How do you want to, or what else is in the works for you?
Well, I feel like there's so much in store that I don't know what's going to happen yet. I have been sowing a lot of seeds and I do well for myself now. But I have a lot of things going on and it's a creative life. As I said, I'm a drama teacher. I teach, elementary school, grades 3 to 5, third grade to fifth grade. I teach them drama for after school care. We have productions once a year. So we work with them after school. I really, really enjoy that. I really enjoy the part of my business where I do independent workshops. So I'll have art therapy workshops, and a lot of strangers have been coming to my workshops. At first, it would be people that I know, they were supporting my business. But now people from the community are looking up these hashtags for art therapy, and they're able to come and connect and make new friendships and make a really cool activity to take home and get inspired by me, because I'm going to like pour into you and ask you questions, and they get to kind of just explore, even just for one day. I feel like I make a big difference. So that's a big part of my business. The community service part is still a big part of my business, where I produce craft kits for nonprofit organizations. We just had one over the weekend, and I want to shout them out. It's an organization called Art Opportunity Knock, and we provided craft kits for their artist showcase. I really want to get back into Children's Healthcare of Atlanta for the service part of my business, but they are still not letting people in. I can provide craft kits for them, but it's not the same, like, from being able to connect. So I have not really explored that. And then how I really make my money to live my life right now is through contracts with organizations and daycare. So I go into daycare and I do art projects with them, multi-sensory activities. I get the kids engaged with their sight, their touch, their feeling. I teach them a lesson and we do an art activity surrounding it. So that is really my bread and butter. That is where I have the most fun. That is what pays the bills. And I make a lot of good connections with that, because people know that they love to do art. So if they see me, for example, at a festival and we have an art station set up, they will stop. Like, what? They're over there painting. People know that they like art, but they don't really know why it's so important to continue to incorporate in your life. So I want people to leave saying, like, every once in a while, we need to do something artistic. I want them to see the importance of it and be able to use it, like I said, for ongoing in their lives. But what's coming in the future is I have a lot of stuff going on that I can't really speak on yet, but it's partnership coming. It's partnership being developed to where I will be able to reach more people. So Art Creek Blue being, kind of a small business, it's just me and a couple of employees. I want to be able to reach more people. I want to work with more organizations and make a bigger impact, kind of like the organizations that helped me as a child. And I'll shout them out real quick. It was the Brain Tumor Foundation for Kids. It was Cure Childhood Cancer. It was Children's Healthcare, Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and Children's Healthcare of Cincinnati. And what I mean by large organizations is they're providing camp for thousands of children every single year, fundraisers, providing resources for families like rental assistance while their child is in the hospital. And all of that can come from what I'm doing now. I'm just in my base stages of, putting and actually doing the arts and crafts and the work with people. But I want to get recognized and developed to where other organizations want to come on board and pour into these children by way of art. That is my goal.
And that's amazing. You have to let me know if there's any way that I can help you, even though I'm not close, but the internet is bringing us closer day by day. So that's amazing. I love to hear it, and I wish you all the best in that. So we've reached a place in our interview where I would love to continue to get some tips from you. So if you have 3 tips that you'd like to just share with our audience today, however you want to spin it, from your heart, from, entrepreneurial standpoint, whatever you have, what would you share with them?
Tips on what? Tips for life?
Life, art, however you want to present it.
Yes. Well, one thing that I will say is find your creative outlet. Find what you love to do and make time to do it. That is a part of self-care. We are in a time where people are boosting and talking about self-care and self-love. A part of self-love is finding out what your creative outlet will be, because it is going to be a helpful tool in just navigating through life. So find your creative outlet. That is tip number 1. Tip number 2 is, I would say, do it from your heart. With everything you do it from your heart. If you're not going to do it from your heart and you don't mean it, and you don't really like it, just don't do it, because we really have options in this life. So you don't have to be constrained to what you think you're supposed to do. I know there is a time and a place for that, especially growing up, as you're growing up or as you're trying to find your way. But at the end of the day, what's really going to matter is, why am I doing this? What am I doing? If you're not being fulfilled, then it's not going to be worth it. So that's tip number 2. Do it from your heart. And tip number 3, for everybody, a lot of people don't really deal with children, and they don't have the patience and the time for it. But I want everybody to be mindful of the fact that they are our future, and the children these days are very different than we are. They're learning at a faster rate, and they have a lot of information coming at them. So if you have children in your life, take the time to really recognize them and understand what they may be going through, and pour positivity into them. Think about what you are teaching them. They take it in and they take it with them, and they take it to other children. So what your child is doing and how they're behaving is affecting my child. So if your child is dealing with self-esteem issues and nobody is at home to talk to them, you won't send them to the Boys and Girls Club. You won't let them go visit their friends. So they have a very closed off and dark life. Guess what? When they see my child in class, they're bringing that energy to my child. So I need everybody to do their part and pour into these kids. And if you can't pour into them, just stay out of the way, because it's very important in this world for our children to be mentally healthy and strong and feel good about themselves. So that would be tip number 3.
Those are awesome. Thank you so much. Now, thank you so much once again for all the time that you spent with us thus far. And before we go, I want to make sure that you let everybody know all of the places and spaces that we can find you, support you, reach out, maybe even volunteer. How can we find you?
Well, right now I'm on I'm only on 2 social media platforms, which is Facebook and Instagram. And you can find me at artsyblue.kids on IG and Megan Williams on Facebook. But artsyblue.kids on IG, I am trying to grow my Instagram following because we have other things coming up. Abby, I forgot to mention that I wrote a book. Yeah, well, you said, what am I doing now? I totally forgot to mention that, but my book will be released at the end of the summer this year. It is a children's book. It is based around art therapy, but it's a good, fun story, and you guys will love it. It's about how a girl overcomes her insecurities using art. So it'll be a picture book, and I cannot wait to present that to the world. And in the meantime, I wrote an ebook, and I want everybody to follow me on IG because you'll be able to click on my link in my bio and purchase my ebook. It is called Keep the Creativity, and I give you guys 12 tips on how to get your child to supercharge their creative thinking, and which makes them a more independent thinker. If they have to think about like, oh, I'm bored, what am I doing today? There are 12 tips and activities that you can try with the family to get them engaged. The ebook is out now on Amazon, so look out for that. And definitely follow me on IG to stay updated on what we have going on. I have merch coming out, shirts for kids that express their artistic side, and I will be providing craft kits for people who want to buy that or need stuff for their kids to do over the summer. You can just buy it. It has everything in it that you would need to paint a picture or do a specific craft activity. So all of that will be available on my IG at artsyblue.kids, ARTSYBLUE.kids. Thank you.
Shout out to you. Well done. Well done. I'm super proud of you and everything that you've been able to accomplish over the years. Folks, you've heard it. You've heard it here. All right, go ahead and follow, support, purchase, volunteer, all of that good stuff, because our children definitely are our future. But then also take care of yourself and making sure that you find a creative outlet so that you can be the best person that you can be. Megan, thank you so much once again for joining us today. And for all of our listeners, if you are a modern day unicorn and you know somebody that is, please have them message me, leave a comment. I love to continue to have these conversations to bring more of these amazing people to you and inspire you. Don't forget that you can also follow us on Instagram at Modern Day Unicorns and on Facebook and on YouTube. Share this with a friend, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time, we will see you.